I was at the London Bookfair today and it was a lot of fun. Yeah, I think I can say it like that. I first couldn't find my publisher because I forgot the stand number, and the book fair is pretty large and stand numbers are pretty chaotic if you don't know the system, if you don't understand the system. So thanks to the staff of the fair itself, I was able to find the publisher, and therefore realized I passed it by already several times. And I recognized the stand because I saw the title of my own book, the cover of my own book. I don't have a copy myself yet, so the copy I have now is what I hold here in my hand in this stand. It's great. You look at the book title and look at the chapters. There's so many interesting things in there. If you haven't bought it yet, you should definitely do. But done with the promotion. It's always better to just join the channel and then to learn through following classes, because everything comes to be discussed there too.
The first question is, what inspires the beginning of the book? The second is, what was the most challenging part of writing the book? The third is, what do you hope readers think of reading the book? And then maybe perhaps is, what's your plan? Do you plan to write more books after this? Okay. Alright.
But the reason why I published the book is to pre-promote my research, and for this I need, of course, your support to buy the book, but also to like and comment on my videos and grow my audience. I need to have a lot larger audience, not because I want advertisement money from YouTube, because I don't really care about that. It's going to take a lot of visitors before I even get 1 penny from that. But what I need is a lot of samples, as it is called. People who want to participate in my research. So help me share this video and help me share my material in general. I don't like to advertise myself.
Let's start the question right now. Is it starting?
The publishing house is doing its best to make its authors happy. So I got a sachet to show that I'm a prized author, and I got some other gifts and so on. That's very nice. I'm very happy with that. But I also noticed that I'm pretty shy if it's about being praised, even if it is for commercial purposes. That is a disadvantage. The book itself is an interesting book, I think. I would read it because it is the kind of topics that I'm interested in. Myself, I have already as a child, I was very much attracted to apocalyptic stories, movies, books, novels, for the simple reason that I'm interested in how people survive under the extreme difficult circumstances. Not that I am a survivalist or that I want to be a survivalist, but it's more that I think, what do we as humanity do when these kind of things happen? And how can we prepare for that? So this is where my research now is about. I had my PhD before comparing Chinese and Western medicine, and in the, say, 10-15 years since that time that I graduated from my PhD, I had time to think about what kind of applications are there for Chinese medicine that are not common for Chinese people. You can see from the images from the Chinese publishing houses that they take themselves very serious. It's very difficult to get in there also as a Chinese publisher, and also when you get in there, of course, it should not be too much anti-Chinese. And although my work is not per se anti-Chinese, I can imagine that maybe they don't really like they did not in Wudang Mountain, to see you as fully accepted when you are not doing what they do, but when you are doing something else with it. And this is actually what is going on here, because my book is actually taking Chinese medicine towards the westernization in a completely different kind of way than the Chinese do, or that the TCM people do in the West or in China. Because all these people, they take themselves, of course, very serious, because they want to be taken serious by the Western medical establishment and by the government and so on. And I don't care about that. I only care about how people can use it and how people can be made better with it.
Yes, it's actually built in two parts. So one part is then there's one. Is that good for staying in the next?
I only am interested in developing things that are cheap, accessible for everybody, and especially accessible and helpful when you are into a very decrepit situation because of poverty or because of natural disaster or because of war. And as you know, in this time, even though this tree is very peaceful and this landscape here is very peaceful, this place where I am at now, this park, this is actually where D-Day was planned, happening to be in London, close to the Olympia where the book fair is this place, and the original plans from D-Day, they were made here. So it is a war thing. And I think also for you and me as normal people busy in trying to secure a future one way or the other, I think it is important that we are going to develop ourselves as a group, and that we are going to learn to do things and share things and make plans and discuss about things, what will happen if all these kind of things come by. More and more titles and research are being performed about the risks that are there, about disaster and what will happen, how many death there will be from a disaster, how many death there will be from war, and how we should arm people, and what will happen with healthcare and so on. And one thing is clear, healthcare is one of the first things that will disappear. As long as things still go sort of okay, then yeah, we can have some healthcare. But as soon as the country starts to dip under a particular kind of level of financial security, which is during every war a possibility. Look at how quickly the United States is impoverishing right now because of having a crazy president. Countries do not last long when things are going to become very expensive, and governance is mostly busy trying to maintain itself, and so are companies. So whatever will happen, whatever will be the prognosis of what will happen with people, sure, there will be remnants of society left after any kind of disaster, but certainly in the beginning period, but maybe even for a longer time when the disaster is huge and global, and at that moment a lot of instruments that we might want to use are not going to be there, and certainly financially are not going to be there. So if the insurance companies are broken down, if the pensions are being broken down, if there's no financial support for the poor, no enough food, what do you do? What we as a society need to do is to get off the bandwagon of commercial healthcare. So one way or the other, we have to go back to the natural situation where people can take care of their own health because they have some basic knowledge. Of course, it's not easy anymore to go into nature and to find all kinds of herbs, to go to a shaman. So that means that every family by itself has to have basic knowledge about how to exercise, how to feed itself, and how to stay aware under times of crisis. So that is what my book is all about. It's about what you need to know before you get into that situation. And I think from a tribal perspective, from a shamanic perspective, from a Chinese medicine perspective, from a modernist perspective and I have a postmodernist perspective, all of these perspectives, they can or should maybe agree with the fact that society is having one big error, namely that we completely rely on technology and financing. The world is not an economic thing, even though it looks like that because everybody's charging for something. This is only because of the political system that we follow, which is dictated by people who have more money than others. It is not dictated by people with no money, and that means that the people with no money, they will gradually become a larger group in any kind of disaster, and at the moment when that group becomes larger and larger, then at that moment it becomes a dead weight, and then you start seeing that people start locking themselves behind gated communities. It's already happening. I mean, even in my country where we are, so to say, pretty egalitarian, you can see that a lot of people are already hidden behind gated communities, and they are locking themselves up more and more and more. And why do they do that? Because it feels more safe and secure. At the moment when that is happening, then the people outside of the gated communities, of course, they will become more impoverished and they will become more damaged emotionally, physically, and a lot of tools will gradually, generation after generation, become impossible to maintain or to finance. And that means that everybody, every family has to have its own tradition of proper healthcare, and we need to build trust in ourselves in what we can do.
The time to prepare for disaster, of course, is always too short. We never see it really coming, even though we see it coming. We try to avoid it and we try to walk away for it as long as we can, because it is difficult to admit that we are going to run a risk and what the risk is going to be. Therefore, the program of the research is set out to be like a seed program. The people who are participating in the program are basically going to be seeds to help rebuild society from a healthcare perspective on a natural basis.
And I believe me, the self-help books that I have been reading over time, they are not going to help anything. I've been also looking at publishers if they will be interested. I have a very much a niche product, of course, my team, my subject, but all the self-help books are more about how do you experience this and how do you experience that and how do you get rid of this pain or that pain, and then you still need a specialist to help you take care of these kind of things. It is not something that you can safely rely upon by yourself, so not without proper study. So to have a way of dealing with yourself and exercising and so on through which you can actually do these kind of things, that is the main thing of what we are trying to achieve with this book and with my research, to set up a healthcare layer on the bottom of society and at the bottom of life for everybody through your education on primary school, high school. This is my second book in Prime 7. This is the first book about the I Ching, and the I Ching is seen in the West as a book of esoterics and future prediction and so on, but in Chinese culture originally it is meant as a learning book about how the world works. So it is not meant to predict the future, but to analyze how you should act from a moral perspective and to become one with heaven. That's basically it. And the second book that I published 1 year later is about how to survive the future with Chinese medicine. And this is part of my research. This research I started about 30 years ago, and I've first done my PhD on this, and now at this moment I'm doing a doctorate on it. And this is about how to develop a healthcare which is competitive with Western medicine healthcare on the basis of Chinese medicine. I divided Chinese medicine in the beginning of this century, the first 10 years, in about 13 different kind of styles of activities that you need for your health. On the basis of this doctorate, I'm going to do a research soon, and that's why I wrote the book, to attract people to the research. I divided it in 3 different kind of skills. Meditation, as becoming more aware, not in finding a stress relief or something, because that's not what meditation is for. And then also about food medicine, learning how to understand what food does to you, not listening to the scientific terminology, but basically learning what food does to you, how it affects you, and how it makes you feel heavy, or how it makes you feel good, or how it makes you feel bad. And the third one is exercise. Chinese medicine has one basic principle, namely it says that you are not a human, and you're not healthy, you don't have these things, but you are doing these things, you are doing healthy, and as a result of that, you will have a long and healthy life, and you find happiness and so on, and so all the things that people find important. But at this moment, and this is what the book is all about, we are living in a little bit of a strange time, where politically, environmentally, street violence, all kinds of things that also we heard already different speeches today, are threatening the future of humankind as a whole. At this moment in Europe, we are here in Europe, it is expected that within now and 2050, probably 87 million people might die from a natural disaster. So that's quite a lot. Yes, and I live in a country where a lot of them will die, about 60 million is being expected, because of flooding of water. And actually the first flooding is expected within a few years' time. So as a result of that, people have to learn all kinds of things to maintain themselves while they become a refugee. And the research has already had some results. I've been asked in Bangladesh if I would like to come to help Rohingya refugees to build a healthcare system. I've been asked in Ethiopia also to help them. But all these kind of things need funding, so the research itself has to provide funding also to do these kind of things. So in that sense, the book was something that is timely. That's basically what you can say about it, because this is the time where several scientists have predicted that we run the risk that humanity will die out within, say, 100, 150 years. And the only thing to survive is to learn to survive under dire circumstances. I've seen here in the Prime 7, many people, they come from the Philippines. There are still people who live in natural surroundings, so they know how to survive. But the problem with humanity has always been that we try to escape life. Now we always tried to make sure that we would feel comfortable and nice, and that we feel our desires, and that we fulfill our desires. Well, in fact, we have as human beings only one task, namely that's to live, right? Just like animals do, we just have to live, and we have to make sure that we live as good as we can. And as good as we can means that we have to use methods, basically, on how to live. This is actually what the book is about, what the research is also about. And the things that we need are very simple. Basic rules about food, basic rules about body position, how to sit, how to stand, how to sleep, and so on and so on. So your healthcare is basically self-management, very simple self-management. I'm not talking about yoga, Qigong or Tai Chi Chuan, or going to the gym or anything like that. These things are extra. Yeah, so the basics is just the basics. So the book is about the basics, the research is about the extra. Yes? Thank you very much, and I would like to thank also the staff from Prime 7 for everything that they do for us. Thank you very much, and I hope everybody has a lot of success with their books too. And Chinese medicine is just the most suitable for these kind of things. And the reason why Chinese medicine is so suitable is because its language is based on experience. It is a pure experiential science, and it is testable because you test it on yourself, and what works for you might not work on another. And let me tell you something about Chinese medicine, science and logic from the past, because in the past they worked from a particular foundation which seemed relatively simple, then they expanded on that, and eventually it became unique and individual. So when they say, oh, China doesn't know individualism, then they have never really looked into the history of Chinese literature and culture, because Confucianism is all about individualism, and it has to come from the heart. And if it doesn't come from the heart, then it is not really there. So this is sort of my rant about my book, and I hope you really liked it. And I think I'm going to add some more pieces to this. Maybe about my trip in England, here, I don't know. There's a lot of things still to be taught. If you're interested, anyway, then make sure you get to connect with me and sign up in the form that is at the bottom of the video, so that you can be ready to join. And if you want to help me by joining the research and pre-finance your participation, that will be really great, because then I don't have to keep asking for funds to people because begging for money is a terrible thing. Shouldn't be necessary for anybody. Everybody should automatically participate and be able to participate for free. That's why it's only 25 euros per person if you participate and 20 euros when you participate and pay forward. It's only 1 year, you get everything. So take good care.
The price mentioned, of course, is per month, but if you are helping me to pre-finance, you pay everything forward, and then you get, of course, on the whole price per month, you get a 20% discount. The reason for that is because if I can find 250 people to pre-finance, then at that moment I can make sure that I can get to my 1,000 people, and I'm not dependent and obliged to any other organization. And you, as a pre-financer, you're going to be also shareholder of the whole program. As a shareholder, you will get some perks, of course, but we will talk about that later.